the Kogi and NCDC issue as far as COVID-19 is concerned. What was your initial reaction?
The initial reaction of Nigerian Medical Association on this is just to confirm our initial thought. Our thought has been that if you do not test, there is no way you can diagnose. And if Kogi State government had consistently debarred the health professionals within those states to get tested, we are just living in fool's paradise, thinking that there are no COVID-19 positive patients in Kogi State. If Kogi State has 11 states that are bordering it, and I can tell you every of those states have got one or two cases of COVID-19, then it's time to reasoning. What is Kogi doing differently? Have you been managing the border with all form of things that you are not allowing people to move around? And I can tell you for a fact, our members had constantly been under intense fear because the government had decided to openly come out that they should and they cannot have those tests done. And it is based on his belief that those tests, if it is done, that it will come positive. Either the person is COVID-19 positive or not. And that is a false belief. And we have stated severally, because our members have told us that they have had cases in which the symptoms looks very close like COVID-19. Kogi State, you must also know, is another town that you have a lot of people passing through in terms of road transportation. So they have had series of people going back and forth, staying within the state, who had presented with such cases. But at all times, they have blocked them from getting the test done in those states. So I can tell you, it's not very unlikely that we have not had many cases of COVID-19 within Kogi State, but it is because the government of the day has refused them to be tested appropriately.
We'll talk about that shortly, but Kogi State government has said that it's handling the COVID-19 pandemic the way it believes is best. It's also mentioned how it's following the lay-down procedures. And if you look at how the NCDC reacted to that and the Kogi State countered that, there seems to be a problem in the procedures employed in this case. As far as we understand that the NCDC is supposed to send out the state health teams are supposed to send out samples to the Kogi State, to the NCDC. That didn't happen, and that's what the Kogi State government is banking on.
Well, I think what Kogi State government is trying to do is trying to have its own policy. And I can tell you, in science world, you cannot be isolated. Science is about being able to reproduce whatever results that you have. Science is not done by your will, by your belief. Science is not belief, it's practical, it's theory. So what the world knows about COVID-19 is you get tested. There are standard procedures you have to pass through, you have to get through. And you cannot do it in a hidden area. It's a thing that should be laid bare, that everybody should see. Okay? But what we are seeing with Kogi State government is that they said they have some machines, they have some equipment, they are doing it by themselves, they are bringing out results by themselves.
They also mentioned the antigen test.
Look, either antigen test or antibodies test, whichever one that we are taking is not going to be within Kogi State alone. It's not going to be within that area that you cannot reproduce it. Okay? And that is science. If I am positive, if you want to confirm it, I go to Lagos, I go anywhere, you test me, and you see that it is positive.
But then you know that in the United States, even though the World Health Organization has not granted approval for antigen tests, the United States FDA has granted approval for them to carry out antigen tests, regardless of the fact that it is not entirely 100% correct, accurate.
Well, I think we are talking about antibodies test, because that is the one that is the rapid testing kits.
The antigen test, actually.
Well, sincerely, if they are doing antigen test is actually the virus. What we are doing here is molecular testing, where we are checking the genome of the virus. And both of them, if it is the molecular testing that we are doing, Those ones give a very high reliability, and the sensitivity is very high. And that is what we are using. If anyone is doing antibody tests have been found not to be as accurate, not to be as reliable, not to be as sensitive as the molecular testing that we are talking about. We, as Nigerian Medical Association, has advocated that Nigerian government and NCDC should, as a short-term measure, as a preliminary measure, should be able to allow the antibodies test to be done so that we can have mass testing. That is the one that is used for the rapid testing kits, which we believe that it should be there. Unfortunately, they have not brought that. But if Kogi State is bringing a test kit, a testing methodology that is bringing out, it should be allowed to have a peer review.